of what you'll actually be helping them to do. Like not talking about Facebook ads. Um, there was some other stuff that we spoke about that I didn't actually include, but even so, like how does this feel in terms of providing a service for this? Because like I said in my message when I sent it, it feels like you could charge double for what you're doing for these people. And by that I mean because before I'm sure you were talking about like $1,500 sort of mark. Yeah, it's just I don't know how flush these companies are in terms of being able to invest to improve this kind of thing. Mhm. I would say for a service like this, I don't know. I mean, when you're having calls with people to sell your products like this or like we had, the conversion rate should be higher than that. But again, I don't know enough about the industry or the type of businesses that you'll be speaking to, or not the type, but the sort of the state they're in, let's say, as to how keen they'll be to invest. But like for what I do, I'm aiming for like 20% conversion. So over 100 people getting 20 clients. Um, so it could be higher, but yeah, I mean, when I say, because for me, when I was reading this, I was like, this doesn't, well, because in my mind, I can do the conversion quite quickly. I'm thinking, $1,500, that's £1,000 for this service. That's very cheap, but I don't know if it's cheap in South Africa. Mm. So, um, what was I going to say? Yeah, so a good question around this actually is how long would it take them to, if you charge them $3,000, how long would it take them to make their investment back in terms of if you're focusing on seller leads, how quickly or how many leads do they need to get to be able to make that money back? Does it depend a lot on the kind of properties and the kind of sellers? Mm. Okay, so going back to can you give me an example of like one seller lead? Like what if they get a seller lead as and they become a client and they decide to list with them, what does the estate agent get from that? Is it like a percentage on the sale of the property? Okay, so what is your commission then? How much are you getting from that? And what does that mean for you in terms of what money you're actually making from that? It's they supposedly fix your back, but there's no scientific evidence to suggest that it actually works. They crack your back for a bit and then you walk away feeling better. No, what I'm trying to, because like going back to, we're talking about price. So if you can say something like when you're speaking to estate agents, I know you say that the system can work for lots of different people, but from a marketing point of view, in terms of standing out and capturing leads, we don't want to be saying, I can help any business. We want to be saying very specifically, like the thing we looked at before, and I'm going to bring it up here. Um, it's not that person. Yeah. And this is what I'm always saying. This is why it's so much easier to do that when you know very specifically who you're speaking to and what pains they have. And yes, you can say to any business, you know, do you want more leads? Do you want more sales? But when you can really start to speak to the specific situation of one person and poke their bruise, as we said before, it's more impactful as you showed there. So yeah, so we're speaking to estate agents and helping them increase buyer and seller leads from their local area by using a proven system that generates 70 to 100 leads per month with zero spend on advertising. If an estate agent is in that situation where their, you know, leads are drying up or they don't know where their next lead is coming from, they want stuff in their local area, they don't want to be starting throwing money on ads because they haven't got the money, but they've got a system that can get them 70 to 100 leads per month. They're like, I want that because they know how much that costs to them. So where I was going with this is if you're trying to make a decision between $1,500 for your service or 3 grand, and then you tell me that they make 5 grand from one seller lead, it's a no-brainer to go with the £3,000 service option. Does that make sense? So the question is, realistically, how quickly could they make back the investment if they paid you $3,000 for this service? If it's, a small handful of leads, that's amazing because you can literally say to them, is that I will work with you until you get those leads or put the system in place to get those leads. And then you would have made your money back, and anything past that is pure profit that you wasn't getting before. Yeah. 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 No, I agree with that because I don't want to work with, you're slightly different because you've got other things going on, and I could see something in you that made sense to me to work with you, but I don't want to work with someone that doesn't have a business, doesn't really have an idea, and doesn't have any money. Because one is, well, I have to, it's just going to be harder to sell to that person. But two, it's going to make my job harder because they've got nothing, and I've got to try and provide value and get, because it can sometimes take years before business, like 1, 2 years before a business like really starts to get traction. And I'm not going to be able to get them a result in that time, and they're probably not going to get the best, most benefit from it. Whereas if I can take someone that's, really motivated, that maybe got some cash to invest, and some kind of thing to work with, which with you, it's your other business, we're leveraging that to create a new business. It makes so much more sense. So in your case, yeah, you don't necessarily want people that are 2 weeks away from bankruptcy kind of situation. You want people that are bringing in some cash. They might even say they're doing okay, but they want more. And they haven't leveraged the online world yet to actually get that. Mm, yeah. So, mm, Okay, so talk to me about this person. What is their situation? What is their business? Yeah. So have you got, did you say you've got a call booked with this person? No. Mm, mm. Yeah. I mean, that's not unusual, really. So how did you first connect with this person? Just asking for help. Okay. Okay. So it's not someone that's reached out to you and is asking for help. And okay. Yeah. I mean, you can definitely try and contact that person. I think when she's obviously not a warm lead or a lead at all at this point because she's just contacted you, but you can definitely try and reach out and Mm, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean it's difficult when you're because what you're planning to do is essentially to cold email them and put an offer in front of them, but those rarely work. Those really work. If you can somehow strike up some kind of conversation with them, not a call, but to get a reply or two first, so that some relationship is established, that might help. But just sending them, oh, here's how you do this, and here's a better way. It's still just a cold email to a potential lead. So what one angle you could go with is to help her first. So is there a little nugget or a little tip or something that you could tell her in an email that might improve the way that she does what she does? Yeah. So think about again quick wins and something that isn't going to take a lot of her effort. So don't say, oh, Kartra's an amazing system, and if you sign up and use all the features, it's going to be great because she's just never going to do it. But yeah, even if it's just giving her some tip that she could take away today and implement today that will show some kind of positive experience, or even just give us some pointers about a certain thing that she's doing, whatever it is, just providing her value first and helping first. If she replies, then you make the pitch for some kind of there's more to this if you want to learn about it, and I can see a lot of potential in what you're doing in your business and implementing my system in your business. Let's jump on a call. So establish that relationship first. About what? The thing is, at this stage, in terms of getting them on the call, you don't want a massive offer as such. You want to establish some kind of relationship, which is what we're doing with giving her some help first. And you've got an opportunity to you can't always do that because you don't have enough context on the person or the business to be able to provide that help, but you do. So you create the relationship by providing some kind of value first, and then you pivot to an offer for a call, but it's not like some big thing. You don't want to send them a massive email with all the benefits they can get from a call. You just want to say, I could see my system being of benefit to you, which helps me get 70 to 100 leads per month, blah, 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 all that stuff. Um, would you like to jump on a call and talk about how it could work for your business? So it's just, it's dangling the carrot and saying that you want to speak to them and show them how it can work for them. Mm. Yeah. So, like you say, it's people are more skeptical these days, and more people are getting bombarded, especially if they're already in business. They're getting bombarded with offers left, right, and center to improve their business or their life or whatever. So it's creating that rapport first is always going to be the best option. Yeah, but it matters. It matters that you're showing up in a genuine way. I mean, we're here today because you found my videos and you like the way that I did them. Whereas if they didn't exist and I just sent you an email saying, "Oh, you've got this business, I think I can help you," that's not as nowhere near as powerful as again providing value first, showing you, creating relationship. That's just so much more powerful. I think you've got a lot of value to share. Um, but maybe right now I wouldn't tell you to focus on that. I would say to focus on leveraging what you already have and just getting this offer together and getting your first few clients and hopefully consistently getting few clients that can support you and do all the things you want to do, free up your time a bit more, all that stuff. And then you can think about where you want to go from there. YouTube YouTube is again, it can be of massive value to you, especially if you can niche down into a specific area. But it's typically a long-term play, and it's going to take a long time for that to start to pay dividends. I would almost encourage you, like, I don't, if you wanted to and you've got the time, just start posting videos on your existing channel. Like, don't like, exactly. Yeah. And let me be completely transparent and vulnerable here as your coach, and say that I was that person last year. I created a big fancy funnel. I run tons of ads. I created the automated webinar that doesn't exist. Well, it exists, but it's not live because I just took it all away. And I created all the pieces and all the things, and I thought it was going to be great. And I was going to switch on ads and get loads of leads and make loads of sales, but it just didn't happen. And this year, I decided to certainly not throw it all away, but to put it to one side because it can be used later or tweaked later, and just go incredibly simple and grow a business first, and just focus on simple funnels of create relationships, get people on calls, sell one-to-one packages. And I just made the decision this year that that's all I'm going to do. Like, forget everything else. And yes, I'm doing content stuff and all of that, but it was exactly that. I just decided, like, I need to bring in some decent money first before I start pushing with all this other stuff. And having that focus has been incredibly helpful, especially like the last 4 weeks where I've been away, and not able to work as well. But because I've got this very singular focus and the stuff that I'm doing each day is very simple, it makes work so much easier too. So yeah, just to that point that you said from Alex, it was me basically. Yeah. Oh, 100%. It goes back to what I was saying last week about the types of content you create. You have personal, which is exactly what you're talking about, educational, which is giving people usable information, and then uh, customer testimonials and that kind of stuff, like talking about who you've got results for. It's difficult to do that stuff so much in the beginning because you don't have many clients, but you can talk about your own story a lot and talk about the specific things that you have done. So personal, people like that stuff on social media. That's the stuff that people that's most entertaining, that people share the most and enjoy the most. It's just not necessarily what creates the most leads, but it establishes a relationship with the person and it gets people to understand who that person is. So yeah, I can see the video actually on YouTube. Um, yeah, here's another business idea here. You should offer a course on how to make farm videos. Yeah, yeah, something like that. So the way that I would, that's definitely an idea for the future. And I think you mentioned another course that you could create in the WhatsApp messages a couple of weeks ago. But that kind of, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it could even be part of the same offer. But that kind of offer is great when you already have an established group of people that have already shown interest in the specific thing you want to help them with. So in this case, it's growing their estate agency. Because what you can then do is beta test it. So send out the offer and get people to pay before you even start creating it. That's the kind of offer because that's, yeah, I mean, I don't know how keen people are going to be to want to learn how to make the videos and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, we are a little bit, but it's fine. We'll bring it back in a minute. But to your question, I don't think it makes a big difference. I think what you're saying and what you're doing for people, the purpose of the video is the background doesn't make a big difference to the impact of that video. So mine, in my case, I don't particularly like this backdrop, but I love being able to just do it from my PC with the camera and everything set up, and it's so easy to do it from here compared to like when I was doing my other videos where I was like in a different part of the house and I had to get all this stuff set up and we haven't got a massive house. So it couldn't just stay up. I didn't have a dedicated space to do it. So I had to take it up and down and all this other editing that was going on. transitioning from that, like what I would call high quality videos, to this stuff where I'm just talking to a camera like this, I was like, oh, are people actually going to like these videos? But as the channel is very slowly gaining traction, I'm getting all these comments from people saying how helpful this stuff is. And like, I don't need to do anything else. I just talk to the camera and say my piece. And that seems to be providing the value and getting people to take notice and take the next step. Yeah. 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 And I don't think it makes a big impact. I mean, I would say I'm a creative person. I'm a perfectionist as well. So I like things to be high quality in terms of production value. But through this channel, I'm realizing that it's not as important as I think it is. So no, I don't necessarily think you need to go out of your way to do it. If you want to do it and it feels good to do it, then do it. But if you're saying that you have to, if you're asking if you have to do it, no, you don't. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so let's bring it way back because we got a little bit off base there. So going back to price, what is your feeling on 1500 versus 3000 for this service delivery that we've laid out here with all because the boxes at the top and the workflow at the top, that's what you're helping people implement. You're implementing that into their business. And then looking through the list underneath, that's a lot of stuff to be going through, a lot of things to be helping them with, which might take more than, I don't know if you had a time frame in mind, but we could be looking at more than 3 months potentially if they're busy people and they've got to get all this stuff together. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Because what you can say too is position it in a way of, mhm. Mm. Yeah. So go ahead. Yep. Yeah. Okay, so you can a good way that you can approach this, because I still think, well, it's all relative. So I can say that $2,000 is cheap, but my context and my perspective is here and the US market, which is quite similar. Whereas in South Africa, it might be very different. So what if you're feeling like, if you get to the stage where you're feeling like it's cheap, what you can say on these calls is that, usually I charge, or I will charge 3,000 for this in the future, but as a, one of my early clients, or however you want to position it, for people that are fast action takers and want to get started on this now, I'm offering it for 2,000. So you give them that reason to move, basically. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely not saying lie. I mean, this is because I do feel like you can get to that stage. So going back to the one of the early questions, can you put a number on the value of this system to them in terms of how quick it would be for them to make back that investment? So let's say the cost is $2,000 to work with you. Is there something you can say, like I said before, you only need 3 leads and you've made your money back, one sale? So that's a seller lead coming to them, and then the estate agent helping them sell it for the best price possible, and their commission is going to cover your costs. Hmm. Yeah, excellent. So yeah. So how long do you think it would take to get them that result? One sale. Explain to me why you think that. Mm. It is, but remember, we're not going to be teaching them on how to create videos. So going with the system of like the content strategy was like coming up with a few simple pieces of content they can post each week. Like how quickly once they start implementing this stuff. So we've done the business setup, we've set up the foundations. Let's say you've done the initial Kartra setup for them, not the full system, like just getting the domain set up, linking any existing software they might have in their funnel, but just basic setup requirements. You've set up their Facebook page if they've already got one. You've told them some tweaks on how to do that. Then they have to start putting themselves out there. So they do that through Facebook groups, and putting their posts in Facebook groups and directly on their Facebook page. Obviously, you need to help them figure out what content they're actually doing. You need to be helping them create the lead pages and the lead capture systems. Does a month to find that first lead still sound doable? Yeah, obviously. And the way that you would position it is that, let's say you can get that first sale in how many sales are they getting normally? Think of your ideal clients. Okay. And what from your system, how many sales are you getting per month? Okay. And is that typically less, you're going to get less of those sales because there's less properties like that? Yeah, okay. Where I was going with that was similar to what we talked about before about, contrasting the amount of results you're getting versus what they're currently getting. Whereas when you said six since April, it doesn't sound like that much, but it might be a lot for that type of property. Whereas if they're dealing with like local area, local housing, they could theoretically get six in a month, possibly, if they've got enough leads. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We don't need to go down that road then. Okay. So 2 to 3 months to get one sale from the system and make the money back. And then they have everything past that is profit, basically, because they've got the system in place and they're learning how to use it better and better. They're getting better at the content strategy. They're getting better at showing up online in a better way. So 2 to 3 months. So what are you thinking? Two grand for 3 months of support and however many calls you feel you need to get all this implemented with them. Don't because I could probably see this from you is don't get caught in the thing of thinking, oh, I'll do it all for you. Don't worry, just sit back and I'll set up Kartra and I'll create a content strategy and all that stuff. This is done with you, not done for you. Yeah. 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 Cool. Okay. So, I mean, you can be flexible on this because when I first created this offer, I only offered 3 calls, one a month. But then working with my very first client, I realized that it needed to be more flexible because you can't always get all the stuff done you want on a particular call, or things take a slightly different direction. So now I offer 6, but even then it's still flexible. Like for my early clients, I'll just give them what they need basically, and figure it out from there. So what do you think in terms of the amount of calls they get? Are you thinking 10 as well? Yeah. Yeah. That's good. So the way that you could approach this is I like it. I've seen them, and I almost took the next step on one because when I was first starting, moving back to just doing one to one, I saw an advert. You might have seen it. It just says, we'll get you 10 clients or your money back. And I'm like, okay, because like I've invested a lot of money in the past and improving myself and getting coaching and going through courses. And a lot of times you don't get the result. So I've been burned. So to see that, it definitely drew me in. Um, it's just how confident you are in getting them the result. As long, obviously, you have to stipulate that they have to take all the steps and do all the stuff. If they've done that and still not got a result, they can get their money back. But if you're confident that that's just not going to happen, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good incentive. Yeah, yeah. To me, saying if you say that one sale will easily cover the cost of your service, and you think that you can deliver that, or at least because the other thing is that people might not get the one sale by the end of the 3 months. But if you've provided an amazing service and they feel like they're on the cusp of it, then they're just going to continue and not ask for their money back anyway. But on the front end, when everyone is skeptical of what they're being offered, it is very powerful. So if you're confident that you can deliver that one sale, that could be it. Like we'll get you your first sale, which will cover the cost of your service or your money back. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so 3 months, 10 calls. How does the workload feel to you in that service delivery document? Do you still have it both in terms of the amount, but also what you're actually going to do for them? When you look at it, do you think I can do that? It's easy, or do you think I don't know how I'm actually going to deliver this? Yeah, but remember that there's some tweaks to the way that you do it to how they're going to do it. So changing um, the lead magnet You can just literally just use mine as an example and just help them create something similar like that. Do you feel like you can do that? Cool. Yeah. Yeah. How attainable that is purely is down to the amount of ideal leads that you can get in front of, basically. Just from what we spoke about in the past, it feels like you're in a good spot for that. It's going to take some time to build up those relationships and reach out to them and provide that value and that side of things. I still think we should possibly leverage the attention you've already got. We should definitely consider that too. Like there might be some people on your YouTube channel that are perfect for this. Yeah. Yeah, it's the low hanging fruit. You've got people that have already shown some kind of interest at some point in what you're doing and what you're talking about. It doesn't mean they're your ideal client, but it's attention that you can definitely try to leverage in the right way. Because I know that you've expressed in the past a bit of uncertainty about, sending emails to your current list and they might not like it, but I think we'll probably dedicate one call or part of a call to actually map out exactly how you're going to try and roll this out in the beginning with your existing network. And then after that, what you can do to consistently bring in leads from that point forward. So yeah, I mean, and even if you can just from your existing network of your list and your YouTube channel, um, I don't think you could try and run ads to people that have watched your videos. That's something you can do, but I don't know if we'll work on that. That might be something you might want to try and do yourself. But yeah, say that again. I'm okay, but if that's a hint that you need to go, that's fine too. Okay. Um, yeah, so even if you could just get two customers from your existing network, that's my services paid for. Which, looking at your numbers, isn't out of the realms of possibility. It just depends on who's on that list and who is watching your videos in particular. Okay, so yeah, Okay, so remind me, what's the existing relationship with this person? They've just been sending you emails about houses and offers and that kind of stuff. Okay. Because if you just pick up the phone and call her, we're in that same situation where you're trying to cold call someone with an offer. That's definitely not my specialty. And I don't know what I could tell you that is like the golden bullet that can turn someone from a cold lead into someone that's going to buy from you. Yeah. That might be tricky via email because there's obviously a limit on how big the file is you can send. Oh, WhatsApp. Okay. Yeah, you could do that. Um, that's not a bad idea, really, but don't think of it as like, oh, I want this perfectly curated video that's saying the perfect stuff at every moment. That's just going to trip you up. I think it needs to be more of you, basically, and just being genuine and trying not to go too far off subject and all those kind of things, but just hooking them in the very beginning with some kind of value proposition. Because as soon as they see that and they start watching it, they're going to be thinking, why should I watch this or what's in it for me? So what is that hook basically? So as an example, I send people like 60-second voice notes um, based on what I see on their LinkedIn profile. And I say, looking at what you're doing, and I give them a bit of uh, contextual stuff, like because I'm essentially saying the same thing to everyone. Of I think there might be some benefit in us having a chat because I can see how we could productize what you're doing as a coach one to one into some kind of online offer and online business. But then I talk about it in the context of their business. So they know it's a real person. They know that I've gone to their profile and looked at what they're doing. And that the hook for them is that you can potentially take yourself out of the delivery. So that's the big hook in that 60-second message. But I don't say the same thing every single time. I just, I've got the framework of like the points I want to hit, which is showing like creating some kind of rapport in the beginning. Just this is why I like to create the relationship in some fashion first, because the way that I do it on LinkedIn is that I will engage on their content first, and hopefully get a reply from them on their content. And then that is a gateway to me because I can say, oh, thanks so much for replying to my comment. I think it's an interesting discussion about X, Y, and Z. By the way, I was looking at your profile and I think that it might be worth us having a chat if you've ever thought about productizing your services into an online course or um, an online coaching program. I can definitely see how it would work for your expertise. And then I talk about their expertise and how it might help. So again, the framework's there, but I'm not like reading a word for word script to every single person I'm sending messages to. It's finding like common ground. It's talking in the context of their situation and providing the hook in a way that I know is going to be most beneficial to them. So I don't think it needs to be very long. If you're going to send this person a video, it could literally just be you talking to your phone. I'm trying to think how you would start it. It's what I don't like, cold going in cold with nothing to go from, because the beginning always feels very forced when I try to do that. Yeah, because certainly, and you probably feel the same because I think we're quite similar on these kind of things. When I see a message that just goes in cold that comes to me, it feels like that person is literally just throwing a line out there. They don't care who it lands near, but they're just waiting to see if someone actually bites it. And it doesn't feel like it's very personal. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like they really care. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Whereas again, when it's just like a blanket pitch, it doesn't feel like people don't want that anymore. More and more people are buying from people. They're not just buying to solve problems, they're buying because they like a company or they like a person. So, with that in mind, can we formulate a plan to first engage with this person on some level to create some kind of conversation? And then we can talk about a 60-second video that you can just shoot on your phone and send it to her to offer to jump on some kind of call. So tell me how you think you forget your service. Just think of like quick win sort of territory. How can you help this person? Just give me like, any ideas that come to your head. Yeah. So how would you help her do that? Okay, so what you're thinking big things here. In fact, you're even taking parts of your service out and trying to deliver that for free. So that might get you this client, but it isn't sustainable moving forward in terms of getting leads and getting people onto calls. So I'm thinking like really small wins. Is there something, because there's two ways we can go in this. You can either try and give some kind of advice over WhatsApp, like very short and sweet advice on what she's doing, not trying to give her a big system that she needs to implement, just something that she can look at and go, oh, yeah, that would be really helpful. I can implement that right now. Or the way that you could approach it is do like the 60-second video like we talked about, where you do pitch yourself getting onto a call, but then the link at the beginning, because it's slightly less cold because you're already connected in some way. You could say, oh, I've something to the effect of, I've been looking at what you're doing as a business, and I honestly think that it'll be worth us having a chat because I can see some ways in which I can help you get more leads and whatever it is. Like we can talk about the specific stuff, but the link. What I'm saying is that to start the message, the link is that I've been on your list for a while. There's the relationship, and I've seen some of the content you're putting out and what you're doing in your business, and I think I can really help you get more leads and sales. The way that I do it, it creates 70 to 100 leads per month. And I'd love to jump on a call with you to see how it could work for your business. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do for you is after the call, is create a script. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would always try and personalize it. So like I said, I'm not just reading the same thing every single time. I have points I want to hit, but I'm always trying to find some common ground between us, and just talk about something maybe that we have in common, or like I said, if I've commented on their stuff and they've replied, like I'll have a little bit of a word about what that is or what we were talking about and why it's interesting. Oftentimes, like if there's something that relates to a story of mine, I'll talk about that. And there's finding common ground and putting your personality in it, but you're still trying to hit the same notes. So let's actually do this now. So what's this person's name? I'll tell you what I'll do. I will share my screen. It's so nice having a big screen again. Makes such a difference. So, hi, Amelia. So, I was thinking something to the effect of um, um, Oh, yeah. All right, cool. So happy Earth Day. So what I would like to do with that kind of thing, and this is what I was talking about when I engage on people's content, I often will share like a lesson or a takeaway that I got from that content or how it relates to something that I'm doing, again, to create that common ground there. So what I'm drawn to is that always remember that even the smallest actions make a difference. Um, so you say, when did you send that? Will you message her today? Yeah, excellent. This morning. Right. No, of course. This is funny. This the message that she sent is so apt in that like the smallest actions can make a difference. This is a very small action in the grand scheme of what we're working towards, but it's still going to make a difference for you and move you forward, and you're going to learn something from it. And who knows, she might continue the conversation, and you can follow up with something and get her on a call, and then the sky's the limit, basically. That uh, so how do you feel about the message that she sent in terms of like reduce, reuse, recycle? How could you say? So you're saying I totally agree that the smallest actions make a difference. I personally, what is there something that you want to share about how you recycle or anything like that? You're married, aren't you? Um, yeah. To properly. What was it you said about your the recycling? To, is the compost used as like is it fertilizer? What do they call it? They use to plant more. You can use it as soil almost to plant more stuff for planting. I don't need to get into the specifics here. I mean, you can but I obviously have a better idea on what you're doing. Uh, use for planting and growing new things. All I'm trying to do here is give you the gist of like the structure of the message. So the first paragraph there is just finding the link and getting them to think, oh, they've read my content, they liked it, and here's the takeaway they got from it, and how we are common. So by you saying something, she's obviously keen about recycling and all that kind of stuff because she's sent you this message. So if you can show her a way in which you do it, again, keeping it brief, but just say, oh, we make a big effort to properly recycle organic materials or whatever it is that you want to say. Keep it like short in that sense. Don't go on a big tangent about what you do at home. And then just pivot into the business stuff and just say something to the effect of, um, yeah, yeah. I also like, I didn't specify before, but I like the reason why I asked if you're married because, to say my wife and I, to say that you're married, you're a, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like people like that. It disarms people when they hear you're married, or if they hear you're a family man or something. It's, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, it makes you human. Yeah. Okay. So, where's actually, where's it gone? There you go. So this is kind of like the structure. Well, this is changed at the top here, but this is the message that I typically send. Um, and this is a voice note, by the way, not a text message. So this first sentence, what I would much prefer to do is what I'm doing here and have some kind of link to call back on because I will always start the message with that first. So the best responses I get from this method is when I've engaged with them somewhere else. So or have some link with them somewhere else that I can talk about or talk about the subject that they were talking about, like we are here. Um, so the pivot. So we said firstly. Um, um, so what you talk about it differently, didn't you? It was she's a mortgage advisor, so she's still after leads, presumably. People that are looking to buy leads. Way you that sounds a bit um, you can play with this. Send it to info@dannetting.com. Is that what you just said? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and then just close it out. You know, exactly. So exactly, yeah. And if you can, again, I've had the most success when I've engaged with someone in a public setting that is very neutral and very organic, and you have a conversation. You might, and I don't just post on their content and say great post, which you see all the time on LinkedIn because they've got these bots that are just running messages through different people's content. I go to the content, I consume it, I ask a question, I post my takeaway, I share appreciation, whatever it is. But I will normally set up the message to get a response, or I might ask a further question based on what they're talking about. Most of the time, people will just reply to anything you say because they're trying to play the algorithm as well. But by making it conversational, by trying to encourage a response, again, you're creating that rapport there. And when you've got that, then it's much easier to do something like this and send a voice note with this kind of framework and encourage them onto to a call with you. Yeah. Let's say first create conversation or then slide into the DMs, as they say, is a video or voice note. I would always say video or voice note so they can see or hear you rather than just sending text. Um, yeah, yeah. Okay, so This is the really simple process of genuinely engage with people first in some way, create conversation and rapport. Once you've done that, then you can send them a DM and send your proposal, which is going to be something to the effect of this. So the first paragraph is, again, finding that common link, like I've got down here. Thanks for whatever you did. If they don't have any content and I can't really do that process, I'll just speak about something that has happened recently, like maybe they've just liked one of my posts, or maybe they've just connected with me, or I'll just go and look at their profile and find some sort of commonality and start the message with that. That always feels more genuine to me than just saying, "Hi, I have a service. I think I can help you." So that's what we're doing here. So first is creating rapport, creating some kind of connection. Then you can pivot. This is specifically for Amelia, but I've been on your mailing list for a while now, and I really think there might be some benefit in us having a chat. I can see potential to increase the amount of buyer leads. You know that she wants that, so that's your hook. That's like dangling the carrot by tweaking, again, just changing some of the ways in which she's doing things to put yourself in front of more people, which I'm guessing is something she's thinking about. The system I use for my business, again, showing that this is something you're currently doing, gets me 70 to 100 leads per month. And I'd love to chat about how we could make it work for your business, because a big problem that people have with this kind of stuff is they can't see how it can work in the context of their situation. So course creation is a prime example of this. They're a fantastic coach, but they can't possibly see how they could put it into a course. That's my job. But by offering them the chance to chat with me to find out how it could work for them, that's going to be a big hook as well. Let me know what you think. But outside of that, I hope you're having a great day and hope to talk to you soon. Again, you can tweak to be more yourself or whatever it is, but that's the format. It's like connection and rapport, pivot to like showing that you understand that you're not just a person sending a message, that you've, by saying I've been on your mailing list for a while now, it's showing that you've been around them a while. Again, there's more connection there. It's contextual messages, basically. And then just like putting in the hooks, getting more leads. This is how I do it. This is how many leads I get. Let me know what you think. And then they'll come back and say, yeah, great, let's jump on a call, or this isn't me for now, or they'll have an objection, and you can just take it from there. Yeah, it's definitely a balance. I wouldn't necessarily go with a hard "Are you free at 12 p.m. today" kind of thing, because I'll be thinking, well, I haven't planned for that or whatever else. But you could definitely say that, yeah, let's make it. And in fact, I have changed the way that I do this now. This is what you see on the left here is actually like the first thing I wrote. So you could say something like, um, no, I think you should have a solid. I think you should have a call to action in there, um, which you're kind of getting at anyway when you mentioned twice that it'd be worth us having a chat. I'd love to chat with you about how I can make it work for your business. Yeah, I mean, it just depends when you're sending it. So next week, um, shall we book in a time? It feels like a soft way to say let's get something in the diary. I mean, that's up to you. I don't think it's necessary, but if you think it's better for your schedule, where is this person? Okay, it's just not another country. That's what I was asking. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I totally see what you're saying, and I do agree with you in certain situations. But I think for a first message, maybe we'll just keep it a bit more broad. If they show interest to what you're talking about, then you can say, how does this time at this day work for you? Yeah. So initially you're just trying to see if they're interested, and then you can pivot and say, okay, here's a specific time. Does it work for you? Yeah. Because like, yeah, once they show interest, you don't want to be going backwards and forwards all the time, like trying to find the perfect time for everyone. Just give them an option. If it works, great. If it doesn't, give them a different option. So what I'm going to do is copy this so that you can use it now. I'll post it in the chat and you can copy it into a document. Wait, it's not copying. It's not letting me paste in. I was going to put it in the Zoom chat, but I'll tell you what, I'll do it in WhatsApp instead. I didn't format it properly, but you can figure it out. But yeah, just mess around with that script. Even consider practicing it a few times. If you're doing a video, you obviously don't want to be staring at a script the whole time, but just get a feel for how you want it to go. The beauty of doing it in a video and just sending it is that you can watch it back and see if it's good. If not, do it again. But yeah, just use it as an opportunity. We don't know what's going to happen, but just use it as an opportunity to test it and try this stuff. Mm. Yeah, I remember. Have you heard of? Oh, I forgot what it's called now. Bongiorno. It's an app basically where you can send like personalized messages to people really quickly. And a couple of years ago, I joined someone's coaching program, and they sent me. It was like a 20-second video of them just like looking to the camera and saying, "Thanks for joining, Dan. It's going to be great." And we're going to, because he'd obviously looked at my application. He was like, "We're going to work on this and this." And I was like, "This is amazing." This guy's it's like took him 20 seconds. But again, like you said, like having that connection and having the person talk to you like that as a person is great. So yeah, have a play with this, and please do tell me how it goes. Yeah, how to push the right buttons to get the response he wants. Yeah. Okay. Should we leave this call here then? And you can, yeah, the message, yeah, and that, yeah, just to be comfortable with the strategy, and yeah, I like it. So yeah, how are you feeling about then? Because the way that I was going to go with this and actually started, I will show you this. We've got like 10 minutes or so, so I will show you this as well. Actually, what I'd worked on myself quickly, and what I was trying to convey before about the difference between when you're talking to someone about what you do and how you're going to help them, the difference between just talking about the features versus the actual way in which it helps them in their business. So give me a second. What's that for? Sorry. Yeah. You can do. I mean, they ultimately kind of, and thinking about it, the way that I say it when I talk about, because what I'm showing you here on the right hand side, this is basically once you've gone through some stuff earlier on in the call, and that's something I want to share with you actually is like I won't call it a script because I don't really work from it word for word. I just work from the sections about the sections of how you want a call to go typically. I'm still getting used to actually doing it because I just get caught in having good conversations with people. But there's definitely some structure to it. But what I've laid out here, just off the top of my head, is once you get to the point in the call where they say, okay, like how does it work, or how do you help me actually do this? That's when you can start to talk about it. And when I do it myself, I do kind of talk about it in a not in a story as such, but in a linear fashion and how we're going to build this thing out and build it together, if that makes sense. So I basically looked at each of these sections on the left, and you wouldn't just sit on the call and say, oh, we're going to set your business up on Kartra and then we're going to set you up a Facebook page. That's just not relevant to them. But to say, getting your business set up online first and building the proper foundations so that you can X, Y, and Z, they're going to think, oh, yeah, it makes sense. I need to have those foundations online, but otherwise I'm not going to be successful online. And then, yeah, and it's always being aware of their objections and what they want and all those things. And you start to build it into how you talk about what it is that you do. So for content strategy, we're not just going to say, oh, I'm going to show you how to post on Facebook. You say, I'm going to show you how to show up online so that you can frequently get in front of the right people in the right way. They're probably going to have at some point thought, I don't know if I'm getting in front of enough people, or I don't know if I'm putting the right stuff in front of them. You're taking that objection away and saying, I'm going to show you how to do it correctly so that you can do it frequently and again, be in front of those right people. Lead capture, you wouldn't just say, I'm going to help you build a landing page in Kartra. They might ask for those specifics, which you can definitely tell them. But when you get to that point of explaining your offer, this is your offer essentially, and how you describe it to them, before you get to the specifics, this is the way you talk about it. So again, for lead capture, it's how to start turning the attention you're now getting into seller leads so that you can better communicate with them over time, as well as build your database long term. You and I both spoke at length that is a very important thing to these businesses. And again, this isn't just what you'll say. You might expand on this based on your own knowledge or based on what you know about your clients. You can definitely play around with this, and I'll send you this too. And then we'll design an automated communication funnel via email so that you can serve every lead with the necessary content and calls to action to move them to becoming a client, all without it costing your time. And that's your email funnel. And then the final bit is we'll link your call booking system because I'm guessing they have something in place already for calendar and call booking. You link it together so you don't need to chase people to get calls booked, and so you can know each week exactly who you're speaking to and when. So I just wrote this out really to give you an idea about what I mean when I say when you talk about your offer and what you do, this is the way you talk about it. It's not talking about the specific features and the steps like this because they don't care about this. What they care about is the result and what it means for their business and their life. So you just, as you're describing how you build this out for them and the steps you're going to take them through as a client, you wrap it up in all this stuff that you know they care about and it makes sense to them as a client and a business person and a person that wants freedom and all these other things. Is pushing all their buttons as you're going through your offer, basically. Yeah, yeah. So I'm thinking you could potentially have a call with someone quite soon. Yeah, so I'm just thinking over the next week, I'm thinking we should have a call towards the end of next week again to give you some time to this. Because what I might send over is like my call layout. And between now and next week, you can tweak it to your own. Are you okay doing that in English? Yeah. Okay. So, okay, in that case, then, yeah, I'll send over like my framework, and I'll pretty much just leave it how I have it for myself. And you can just plug in what you think. You can get an idea from that they're all split up into different like steps of the call. And based on what you're seeing from me, you can basically just think, okay, what would I say instead based on my business and my ideal client? They'll be quite similar because you're ultimately helping people get, you know, more leads, more sales, time freedom, all the same stuff, really. And I'll plug this into it as well when we get to like the offer bit. But between now and next week, I would encourage you to go through that document, make all the changes so that they fit your business. And then maybe we can, in the next call, run through it together so that you've got a solid strategy to get people on calls, which is the content engagement and then the outreach messages. And then a way to actually bring those people on and turn them into customers. Yeah. But also you're a business. Like why if you're in the midst of your office day and you're sending someone a message to say you can help them, why do you need to be in a field? It just doesn't. It's almost quite odd that you would like if someone's sending me a message talking about my business and how they can help me, why have they gone to walk the dog? Yeah, excellent. Okay, so yeah, I think because there's still some stuff I think we probably need to talk about with the delivery of the like what you're actually going to do for them in terms of like what you're going to do on the calls and how much time it's going to take you. And the thing that I keep coming back to, the only thing that we're changing in terms of your process is the content strategy, because yours is YouTube videos, but we're not going to be helping people do that. We're going to be giving them simple content that they can do relatively quickly, but is still effective. So we might need to go into that too. Yeah. All right, cool. In that case, shall we say same time next week, 9 o'clock next Friday? I think my calendar is empty. Let me make sure because I've not looked at it in a while. Yeah. Cool. So 9 a.m. BST, 10 a.m. SAST. All right, cool. I will send that over in a minute. And I'll also send over the notes from the session. There wasn't really many notes to take, really. It's just I'll send you a document with the content, the outreach strategy, the message for Amelia, and my sales framework as well. Cool. Sounds good. Oh. Yeah, it's interesting. So it's the last night was the first night in his own room, and it was okay. It wasn't great. To be fair, my wife handled most of the issues, but yeah, fingers crossed he starts to settle down in there. We can go back to having our own bedroom in our own space again. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. Okay, mate. Oh, nice. Yeah, awesome. All right, mate. See you later. Bye.